I have to put my hands up. If I'm a little bit wishy-washy today, rather than my usual sharp as a knife self, I've had a really bad shoulder. You know when you just get one of those aches and it's numb and really, really bad, and it's stopped me from sleeping. And I've just managed to start taking some of this. Is it codeine or something?
Oh, I'm allergic to codeine. If you want to kill me, codeine's the way.
Oh, really? I think I might be as well, because I'm like, la, 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 la. So if I just start talking absolute nonsense,
More so than usual.
Yes, more than usual. I'm absolutely fluffy. But where do we start? So Annabelle, yes, it's great to have you here with us again. What do you think is well, let's start from the beginning. Why did you? Because I remember when you started working with us many years ago down at Pinewood Studios. It was really. Were you clear at that point that you wanted to be a TV presenter, or did you know you wanted to be an expert, or were you just sort of testing the water to see what took?
I knew I wanted to work in front of the camera because my degree was behind the camera. But I wasn't sure in what field. When I came to you guys at Pinewood, it was definitely I just want to see if I can do it, let alone like how I'm going to do it. I just want to see if I was any good at it, and kind of learn and hone any skills I might have. I definitely didn't know where my career was going to go. I didn't even know if I was going to have a career, to be honest. I did it because I just wanted to see if I could. So yeah, no idea about the expertise side of things. That came after the course, when I very quickly realised that for every presenting job I was going for, like a general presenter, so were hundreds of other people. So it very quickly dawned on me that I was going to need some kind of specialism or knowledge to just get ahead of other people. So I have a background in psychology, so kind of the counselling side of it came quite naturally, and that was something I was already interested in and had qualifications in. So I thought I'd go down that route. And you know, if the TV work isn't flowing freely, you have got a backup as well.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? I think there's so many really good, competent, engaging, professional presenters that are out there. So you know, if I want to somebody to talk about a coffee for me, I've got the pick of the bunch. I can literally go to thousands and thousands of applications and pick whoever I want. Whereas if I want to have somebody make comment on relationships or sex in relationships and the problems that might occur in that area, there's a handful of people of which you are one of the top. So that gives you a massive advantage in that field, in as much as it's a smaller pond for me as a producer to pick from.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got asked, oh well, you know, how often do you actually get work in this field? And the answer is regularly enough to, you know, pay my bills and my mortgage. Because the work isn't necessarily like flowing constantly all the time, like I'm working every week but not every day, you get the opportunity to do things like work on other side projects. So for me, variety is the spice of life. If I was doing the same thing day in, day out, for me that would be maybe a little bit boring. So the fact that I get to do all these different things on a daily basis is exciting for me.
Yeah. So you mentioned the book there. Let's have a look at it, because this is number 2 in the series, isn't it?
2.
Chasing Clouds.
Yeah.
So, okay, with this book then, it's a continuation where we left?
No, it's not a continuation. It's an entirely new story. I think the last time I spoke to you, I was working on the second novel of Autumn. But do you know what? I'm just done with her for a bit. She was a bit selfish and a bit self-involved. And I thought, you know what, let's create a little bit more of a more likable character this time around. People really struggle to like Autumn, which is kind of what I wanted, but probably not the best thing for your main character. So yeah, totally different book. This book is about empowerment. It's about self-love and self-worth, and chasing your dreams. So it's a little bit more of a romantic book. It's less erotic. It's definitely more romance and more kind of women's fiction. And yeah, I'm really excited for it to come out. Can't wait.
Super. And that's on Monday, and you can get it on Amazon and all good
Waterstones, Amazon, WH Smith's. If you've got a local independent bookstore that you'd like to support, they can all order it in. So basically any bookstore and online.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be queuing up to get that. But as you said, though, the when you are that expert and you're working on a weekly basis, but it does give you time to do other projects. And we're all sort of going into a new way of working now, and I think it's very easy for people to sit at home and just sort of what's the word? Just veg in front of.
Yeah, especially at the moment, because there's so much going on, and people are reacting to the pandemic in a plethora of different ways. Some of them positive, some of them negative. Most people I have spoken to have definitely felt the negatives of it. So there's that kind of self-entitlement of, this is hard, like I deserve a bit of a break. And if that's what's getting you through, great. But for me, that hasn't got me through. It's more of a distraction. Inventing projects to work on has kind of taken my mind off what's actually happening. So that has definitely been the way that's worked best for me.
Do you know what? We haven't been running courses over at Pinewood. We've run one in September, I think, but since sort of March last year, we've sort of haven't been doing it. And again, that's where we could have gone, is just sat there and thought, oh yeah, no, let's just put our feet up. But I've written a book. We've got a new website launching. We're actually launching a new radio station as well. So it's kind of like, I just look back to last year, March, and go, how would have I had time to actually run training courses as well at Pinewood with all the other things that just need to be done? So it's just been actually a blessing in a way to work-wise to get loads and loads of stuff done. But anyway, I told you I'd be distracted. I can feel my mind really. It's great. When you started off then, okay, so how did you actually find your brand, do you think? It was you had an interest in psychology, you had a qualification, you knew a lot about that. Is it just something that you thought, right, I've got an expertise in an area, I'm going to use that rather than try and start from scratch?
Yeah, it was definitely like, building on something that I was already interested in, that I'd already done some work towards. I think my best advice for anyone who's looking to kind of forge a career in TV with an expertise kind of edge is do something that you genuinely are really interested in, because it won't ever feel like work. Anything you're passionate about, like I was chatting to a girl the other day and she is tech mad, tech obsessed. So she's going to start writing and pitching technology-based pieces, and she just got her first commission yesterday and sent me a message to say, I've just had my first commission. So she, it's something that you're interested in, something that you are interested in to the point that you've kind of done a bit of like research off your own back, so you've got that knowledge. And if you can get some qualifications along the way, that goes a really long way as well, because I've done quite a few TV shows where halfway through or at the very beginning the producers said, can I have copies of your certificates, because you can't be peddling yourself as an expert if all you've got is a passing interest in something. You need to have, for a lot of productions, have something to show that you have the authority to be the expert in that area. So yeah, it's been long old journey, and forging the brand has been, it's been over 10 years since I started doing this, and it's an ever-changing, ever-evolving situation. I guess the way I look is, it has to contribute towards the brand, so I can't be like a expert in alternative sex because I don't look alternative. So I think the usual kind of description I get is like sex expert and girl next door, which I'm absolutely fine with if it makes it accessible and acceptable to people, then that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wonder how I'd brand myself. It's like a communication coach and hippie. I'm really going down that hippie with this hair in lockdown. It's just getting out of control.
Oh, don't. I've got to keep my head up, because otherwise you'll see my roots down to my ears.
So, as that expert then, and finding that brand, what can people be doing during lockdown? Do you think, you mentioned writing articles? Do you think it's worth sort of starting YouTube channels if you haven't already, and
Yeah,
start
I mean,
talking,
whatever you can
blogging?
do that helps kind of, if you're producing your own content, that's brilliant. I think that keeps you fresh. It keeps, you know, if someone does stumble across you or finds you from like a TV background, or they're looking to commission an article, and you can point them in a direction online that showcases you and your work and what you're about and your knowledge base. It's like having an online CV, like a interactive digital CV, and that's really useful for a lot of people. I guess, you know, just keep busy. Like I have so for example, I stick on my computer post-its every evening when I finish work. I come up with 3 or 4 things that I absolutely have to get done the following day, and that just keeps me, like, keeps the drive going and keeps me ticking over. And if I get a little bit like wayward with one bit of it, I'll move on to the next, and, you know, fresh mind, and then go back. So definitely just try and keep being productive. I hate that word because it just makes me think of, like, I don't know, like a factory assembly line or something. But the more stuff you can churn out, the better equipped you are at showcasing yourself if and when the time comes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when you do get those opportunities and chance meetings, or somebody sort of you just happen to have a chat with somebody somewhere, and they go, oh yeah, I'm a producer of this, that, or the other, you have got some stuff to show them. And that's where, and it's difficult, isn't it, to sort of almost motivate yourself to do all of those things, not really knowing what is going to be the outcome, not having a solid, you know.
Yeah, and you know what, it is not for everyone, because a lot of what you do, a lot of what I do, you know, there's no definite paycheck at the end of it. You have to do it because you love it. Like the first book I wrote, I didn't even know if I was going to finish it, let alone, you know, get it published, and it ended up being #1 in the romance charts on Amazon, and in Cosmopolitan, and I went on Loose Women with it. But those things were not definites when I started it. So you do definitely have to have a passion for it, and a desire just to do it kind of for yourself. And for the most part, like when I first started, I had a proper job, because I could not, like I say, a proper job, like a 9 to 5, because I couldn't make a living out of doing what I was doing. So you do have to have a lot of self-discipline to do the bits that aren't necessarily, you know, they don't necessarily have instant monetary value to you. It's kind of all about making your passion projects and turning them into something that can pay your bills and earn you a living.
Yeah, so you have the as almost like a video content or video CV stuff. You've got written stuff, blogs, all of that stuff that is just sort of available as and when opportunities come along, and you can go. And what I want to ask you about as well is, you know, the importance of things like agents, the importance of networking, going out, how to go about meeting and building relationships with producers in TV and stuff like that. But before you answer that, I am going to now turn off our Facebook live feed, because Facebook people, if you are watching this live on Facebook, you should be in the members area. Why aren't you in the member? It's free. It's go to tvtrainingacademy.com, join the members area. It's free, and you can continue the rest of this meeting webinar thingy bob with our special guest Annabelle Wright. So I'm just gonna stop that. Annabelle Knight. Yes, where was it? So now you've got all that stuff. Finding an agent and starting to get it to the right people. Where's a good starting ground with that? Are agents the way to go, do you think?
So I love my agent. I think having management is super important, even if you can manage to garner work yourself, brokering contracts and getting paid what you deserve. I'm not comfortable having those conversations. I never know, especially in the early days, I didn't know what was an acceptable rate, if I was asking too much, if I was doing a lot for too little. Like having an agent to sort your contracts and to kind of manage the money side of things, even if that's all they do for you, that is invaluable. So I would definitely say, if you can get management, do. The way I did it was I essentially Google was my best friend. So I just Googled like talent management agencies across the UK, and I spent days going through them all. There's different agents within the agencies, so you have to kind of get to know them on an online basis, and find which agents you'd be more suited to, or you think they'd be suited to you. I kind of made a list of 3 tiers, like my dream agencies, then like kind of second best, and then okay, if none of this works, 3rd tier, like I'll take anything. And I, contacted number 1s first, number 2s, then number 3s, and yeah, got an agent. The first agent I had was fantastic, but it just didn't work out, and we came to a mutual decision that I wasn't going to kind of be represented by them anymore. And then the second agency I landed just turned out to like be the dream team, and I've been with my Black Sheep for probably 9 years of my 11-year career.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a really happy working relationship, and they've just been fantastic. And again, your agent and your manager will know people that you can spend all the time in the world looking at producers and sending emails, but for a lot of people in TV, that will probably go in their junk, or it might go in their junk, or they might read it and not know who you are, and not have the time at that moment to like invest in watching whatever show you've sent or whatever. Whereas your agent will already have established relationships with a lot of production companies, and know producers and know other people in TV, and they'll also not only be able to put you out there to them, but they'll be the first ones to know about any casting calls that kind of are needed, or any new shows. So my biggest regret in life is I was down to the final 2 to present Celebs Go Dating, and they went with my friend Anna instead, which was definitely the right decision. She is fantastic, but at the time I was absolutely devastated. But I didn't know that opportunity was going to be presented. I didn't know Nadia was leaving, but my management did, because of underground gossip in the industry. And I got kind of put in front of the producers before they even really knew they needed someone. So definitely management is, for me, it's the way to go. That's not to say you can't do it without a manager. For me, I found it easier to have management.
Yeah, but even things like that, if you're down to the last 2 in a pretty high profile show,
it would have been amazing.
Yeah, it would. But those producers, those directors involved in that, you're kind of on the radar.
Oh yeah, I've had a job off the back of that from
Exactly.
One of the producers moving on to a different show. So it's like a spider's web. You just have to kind of pick up one strand, and you're connected to loads of strands. So
yeah. But so when you've got that agent then, and they've got all those fingers in places where we necessarily can't get to sometimes, because we don't have those relationships. Does that mean that you can sit back, put your feet up, and just wait for the phone to ring, or do you continue to network yourself too?
No, it's always. I mean, you can do that, but it's very unlikely that if you get an agent, to go out and get an agent in the first place shows a level of tenacity. So I think, yeah, you definitely have to, push yourself, be writing, be working. I pitch all the time. Like, one of the things I do every single day is come up with an article idea to pitch, and then at the end of the week I will pitch end of the working week, I'll pitch 5 article ideas to the big national papers, my editors there. Wow. And they'll pick up 1 in maybe every 12 to 15 emails I send. So it's not, there's a lot of rejection, but just having that one article in the paper, TV producers read the papers, things crop up. If your name is there, it's better than it not being there, and it's also better than someone else's name being there. So definitely just, invent work for yourself. Like, if you find yourself at a loose end, I always ask myself, if I'm not doing anything, I'm like, what could I be doing? And one time the answer was, well, you could be writing a book. So I did that, and now I've got my second one coming out. So it does pay off. Sometimes it feels like an uphill struggle with no kind of end in sight and no light at the end of the tunnel. but it's all working on yourself. It's all building up your brand and your knowledge and, you know, who you are as a presenter or an expert. So just, you know, for me, it's keep working, and if there is no work, make some work up.
Yeah, I think the days of you know, I think one of the mistakes I perhaps made when I first started many years ago is I just thought if somebody spotted a little bit of talent there somewhere in underneath all that, you know, dozy 20 or a 19-year-old plonker of a Brian, that they'd just spot some talent and go, yes, well, we can nurture that and work on that, and you know, there's potential there. It doesn't work like that. You have to invest in yourself first. You have to develop your talent and expertise, so that what you're actually doing is you are taking something to the picnic. You've got something to offer the at the table before you're actually invited to join.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the idea that talent means success is, I think, such a misconception, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, of talented people out there. What makes you different from the other talented people is your work ethic and you know, how you go about making it so that you are at the forefront of a producer's mind. Or quite often when a production company are coming up with show ideas, say they know roughly the theme of the show, and say it is I don't know, something to do with cars, and they're thinking, right, we need some car experts. They have a whiteboard in one corner with a ton of names on, and you want your name when the researchers or someone working on the show is like, okay, I'll work down this list of names, type in Joe Blogs or whatever. You want your name to be the one where they look and go, oh, right, okay, this person's great. I can clearly and concisely see what they're about. I can see they can do the job, because most people can read an auto cue. Most people can remember a few lines and deliver it to camera. It's whether or not you've got that interest and that padding around yourself to make you really appealing to a producer.
Yeah, it's so important. It's work on yourself and your brand and your expertise. It really is. When you've got that, because I just noticing some comments in the chat there about, you know, getting an agent. Yeah, it's fine, but how do you do that? Well, I think the first step is to have something to sell before you go and sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I must have sent, oh God, I dread to think how many unanswered emails I sent to agents when I was looking for one in the early days. And it is just about like sending an initial email, and then if you don't hear back in a couple of weeks, chase it up. Like I mean, the worst thing you can get is ignored again, and the best thing you can get is someone going, oh shit, I forgot to look at that person's website, or I didn't read that properly, or I didn't watch the show reel. And also just sending a chase-up email shows them that you're serious and you're interested, and that you're not someone who just, you're not forgettable. You're there, you're in their inbox.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever mentioned these things, Annabelle. Probably not. I rarely talk about them. Those little video brochures. How about making a little message?
I mean, if you can. I mean, the first presenting job I ever got, and this is no word of a lie, I saw the advert for it on Star Now, and I saw that it had a lot of interest. So instead of applying online, I went on Company's House and I got the address of sounds like such a stalker thing to do, but I got the address of the main guy who owned the company, who hadn't posted the article, the advert at all. And I sent him a letter of why I would be great for this job. And I got the job off that. Well, I got an audition off that, and then I got the job from that audition. So yeah, they're definitely, like, you know, quirkier ways to get in touch with people.
Well, this is it, because that would have made you stand out. That letter arriving on somebody's desk. There's a brilliant.
Oh, it was on pink paper and everything. Like, it's so bad. But, you know, 11 years ago, that was the best idea I could come up with, and it worked.
Yeah, but you know, there are those video brochures. Make a video and send it to the individuals. You stand out, people remember you. There'll be a link, I'm sure, in the chat in a moment. Gemma will put a link to our equipment for self-shooting. You can get them off Amazon if you want. The other thing is, I might have mentioned this before. This guy who he printed his CV on the top of his car and drove up outside Radio 1. And Greg James on the radio show noticed it and gave him a shout out on the show.
Wow.
I haven't actually looked. If I could have been bothered, I would have followed that up with what he's doing. But he got noticed. That's the point of it. He's done something that got him noticed, rather than just send an email and then go,
well,
oh,
now,
there's
you
no
know, going
opportunities.
viral is a great way to, you know, garner a following and some attention. That wasn't a thing back in my day, or at least it wasn't a thing I thought of. But yeah, if you can do something like a fun stunt that's going to get a few people looking and noticing, then, you know, everything is any kind of attention you can get, you can turn to your advantage.
Yeah, yeah. So when you're you know, approaching producers and people like that, what is the first step? Well, you know, maybe you're not established like yourself. You've got a huge, you know, CV behind you of different things. If this is my first outing, what would be the way, do you think, that I should approach a producer?
So what I would do is and what I have done is look at production companies that make the type of shows that you see yourself fitting into, because they're more likely to make more of those shows. So production companies that make factual programs, you know, if you're a dietitian or if you're a scientist and you want to go into TV, or a doctor or whatever, factual entertainment is probably where you will end up. So look at production companies that make those kind of shows, see who produce them. LinkedIn is obvious. I wouldn't contact people on their social media. I have done that before and have been told by the individual, you know, this is like, thanks for your contacts, but can you do it through a work outlet? So yeah, I've had a slap on the wrists for that before. But now more and more people are using like Twitter. I get approached by only yesterday, The Sun, a journalist sent me a message on Twitter, and I was like, this is not what we're doing, is it? And then no, apparently now we do. So but I would say go through their professional channels first if you can, unless they use their social media for work, you know. So, you know, judge it definitely, but look at production companies that make the type of shows you would like to be in, see who worked on them, who produced them, see what else they've done, and, you know, work out whether or not they're a good person for your brand and what you want to do, and then reach out. And then, you know, you might get, so not my best story, but I used to do a lot of This Morning. I was a agony aunt on a Friday for them, and on one of my first shows I shared a packet of crisps with one of the runners, and she then went on to be an assistant producer on Big Brother's Bit on the Side, and she remembered me from that, and that is how I ended up working with Rylan every week, when sadly before Big Brother was cancelled, but every week I was on Big Brother's Bit on the Side, you know, talking about the housemates and their body language and if there's any love in the air, and I entirely got that job because I shared some crisps. So it's there are definitely like one-offs that you can't really emulate, but for most of my work it has come through me basically just reaching out to people. And you know, if you follow things like Casting Call Pro or other production companies on social media, they'll often, if they're doing a program, they'll say they want participants. Now that isn't what you want to do. You don't want to be on, like, I don't want to be on a dating show looking for a date, but I will see that they are making a dating show and they're looking for participants. So then I'll contact the production company and say, hey, I don't know if you know me, but this is what I'm about. And I've got, you know, I've done loads of pilots through that. And the Good Girls Guide to Kinky Sex on Channel 5, got that through just seeing the production company asking for couples that wanted to spice up their sex life. So it's about keeping your finger on the pulse of what is happening in broadcasting at the moment.
It really is. You kind of absorb yourself in this, don't you? And that's why it's so important that you do find something that you actually love and are genuinely interested in, and you would be reading and looking at it, watching TV programs about it, even if it wasn't your work anyway.
Yeah.
Because if you know, you just have to put so much time and effort towards that. It's a crazy amount.
It's almost a job in itself, but I don't do it quite so much anymore, but definitely you know, earlier on in my career I used to spend a couple of hours a week scouring the internet and looking through the TV guide at just anything that would have a kind of a name that I thought, oh, dating, love, sex, relationships, anything like that, that I could find out who was involved and could I contact them. So it's definitely worth setting aside some time a week just to have a look. Like, it sounds so ridiculous, but yeah, just look through the TV listings. And I mean, you could get Broadcast Magazine if you really want to be ahead of the curve, because quite often they'll announce, you know, if someone is the new casting director for a show or a new producer. So you get to know, the industry is very small, and you get to know, you know, the big players and the big names just through that magazine, really.
So when you are you know, looking for all these opportunities, it's really worth, though, I think, and I wonder if you agree with me, just doing more than the Dear Sir, Madam letter. Just really, I mean, you mentioned stalking earlier on, but it's not stalking, it's doing your research.
Yeah.
And it's actually finding out, what does this person, get the name of the person, what has he or she done before, what was it about what they did before that actually you thought was pretty cool or you liked, and make a subtle comment about, I really thought the way you did this, that, or the other was an interesting way of delivering that information.
Yeah, show your passion for it. Like, I loved whatever show you last worked on. I thought it was great. I could see myself presenting that, or, you know, working on that, you know. Just create, it's almost like a creation of opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think people are really aware, because these people probably get approached all the time.
Yeah,
so when something comes through and they can immediately see, oh, this person has really thought about this person has done the hard work, this is a serious, considered approach, rather than this is on my list of 400 Dear Sir, Madam letters that I'm going to send out every month. It's really important, I think, and working towards that is a great way to then have all that information on YouTube, all that stuff that you've made, to show them. I feel that I'm waffling. My head is a little bit light. Am I talking rubbish?
No, you're just perfectly normal to me, Brian.
Yeah, totally normal, Brian. You're always like this. So then, okay, so producers for TV shows, for radio. Now, radio, I've heard in the grapevine, I don't know if this is top secret or what, but are you starting a new radio show somewhere along the line?
I am. I will be working on a brand new radio station called River Radio, and I'll be doing a weekly 1-hour show, like a live agony auntting show, or pre-recorded. We haven't decided yet. I get a lot of traffic through my website and my social media, with people just wanting help and advice, really. And I had a one-page weekly column in Now magazine before it folded, and I used to use that content in that column, so I had a great outlet. And now it's all building up and I don't have the outlet anymore, so the radio show is going to help me to use that content up, and hopefully help a few people along the way.
Fantastic. Well, listen, if anybody is interested in having a quick look at River Radio, there's some links in the chat there. Go along, give us a like and follow us, because there's a few other people there doing a show. Somebody's doing a show on, like, you know, UFOs, space, quantum physics, and all things weird and wonderful. I don't know who that is. So I'll be actually doing a show as well, and actually there are some spaces. We are looking for some other presenters who you know, there might be some opportunities, so go along to the Facebook page for River Radio. Is it there, Gems? Have you put it up? Sure you have. Give us a like, follow us, and who knows, it might go somewhere. What's this? I'm being absolute stunned. All right. Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to open this up then to any questions that we've got, because I've been hogging Annabelle's time and attention because it's just so easy to talk to you. But I know there must be loads of people out there who've got questions. So Louise, I can see you waving there. Louise, let me unmute you if you can. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, good, thank you. Thanks very much. That's really, really helpful. I was curious, I missed, like, I think the first 2 minutes of the call, and you were sort of saying that you experienced there was so much competition, so obviously to become an expert in your field. But how did you then, when you decided that, how did that first job, like your first kind of break where you were like super exhilarated, like how did that actually happen? Can you talk us through?
Oh God. It had my first break. Trying to think what it actually was.
Well, it wasn't it. You did a 5-day course at Pinewood Studios, didn't you?
I did do a 5-day course at Pinewood Studios, and that honestly was one of the most helpful things I've ever done. I still to this day use techniques that I learned there, so thank you very much for that. I think the first real like big thing I did that was paid, because I did a lot of work for experience early doors, which there's that saying, you know, don't work for free, basically, like get paid what you deserve. And I love the idea of that, but in the early days it's really hard to prove your worth when you haven't really done much. So my first like proper paid job was, oh, I can't think what it was.
Wasn't Love Honey, was it? Was that further down the line?
It was a little further down the line. I did, oh, I know what it was. I did, before I had like expertise, I did like a gambling channel, like a bingo channel. And that was filmed in Wimbledon, and it was so exciting. I mean, there was only me and a cameraman in the studio, and then someone in my ear directing. But that was so exciting because it was a fantastic learning curve. I'd never really been in touch with a gallery before. And I did that for 4 or 5 months. And it was well paid, it was easy, it was so much fun. It was interactive as well. So you got a lot of feedback from people, and I just absolutely loved doing that. And that came about because I joined a website called Star Now, built a profile and just kept scouring for job adverts and applying for whatever. And I did loads of free stuff from there to kind of build up my show reel. And that was my first paid job, and I loved it. I forgot about that. I really enjoyed doing that. It was so much fun.
Can I ask one more question? Is that all right? So yeah, because I feel like I'm an actress. I've been a screen actress for about a decade now, but definitely have decided before lockdown that I want to transition into presenting. So I've got a reel together, and I'm sort of got a few jobs, you know, but sort of like e-learning on something about technology, something about property, like kind of like privately viewed things, which is great for what you just mentioned in terms of your self-confidence and your skill set and getting stuff together for the reel. But I'm 37 now, and I just kind of feel a bit like I don't have necessarily a skill. And I've heard it before, like be an expert, and you know, and I just kind of feel that panic of, so does that mean I have to go back and study and get a qualification? Because I'm like you, I'm very passionate about psychology and meditation, all these things. I'm like, do I have to go and do that? And then I try and be a presenter, or what do I do? Like,
no, well, if if that is your passion, you don't have to have qualifications to create content. For me, having the qualifications has certainly helped in terms of you know, proving to producers that because they want qualified people at the end of the day. But if your passion is kind of well-being, I mean, are you going to go back to university and do a well-being degree? Probably not, especially if that's something you live and breathe and are passionate about. So my advice to you really would be like build a channel, build a presence for the thing you're passionate about, and use that as your kind of online CV. And then you'll be creating content, you'll be creating like an online hub for yourself, and you'll be working on your skill set and the thing you're passionate about all in one go. So yeah, definitely you know, just produce content on the thing that you're interested in the most.
And that feels more fun. So I'll
yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Super, thanks, Louise. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like sometimes you could possibly, within that whole well-being thing, find a niche within a niche, be known for. I mean, I'm just thinking, because I saw something on, I saw some chap on, I can't remember what it was on TV. He came along and was talking about he's going to live till he's 180. And how's he going to do it? Well, he's got like cryotherapy, and he's got certain supplements he's taking, and intermittent fasting and all that. And it's kind of like, I thought, that's a really interesting area. This guy, obviously, he's releasing a book saying fast quickly or something. But it's a really interesting niche area within well-being and stuff like that. And really, as we said before, just, you know, don't go back to university necessarily, but if you're really passionate and interested about something, you'd probably be doing it anyway. You'd probably be reading books on it anyway. You'd probably be going, oh, there's a little online course I can take on that. I'd be doing it anyway if I'm really fascinated with it. But super, thanks, Louise. Nice, good luck. You don't look 37, I have to say.
I know, I was shocked as well. I was like, oh God.
Mind you, a lot of us are like that. I'm 38 and I don't look 38.
I know.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's intermittent fasting. That's what it is. Where are we? Anybody else got a question there for Annabelle? There we go. Sean, I saw you. Let's unmute you. Hello there. How you doing? Unmute. That's it.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Annabelle. This has been really interesting. So my question's a bit. It's probably a little bit niche, but I've worked in acting for a long time, but actually have been working in presenting, doing. I host Firework Champions, which is a very much a live event. But quite recently, I've had quite a big change in my life, which is that I've, during lockdown, found out that I actually have a heart condition, which is meaning that I have to have a pacemaker implanted. Now, I know this is trying to turn a negative into a positive, but alongside this, I also run a nutritional company that provides football teams with their lunches, their training lunches, and their food. So have come up with the concept of actually there is very little knowledge out there on young people that have to have things like pacemakers and all of this kind of stuff, but also about that healthy element of looking after yourself and your heart and all of these kind of things. So I'm really keen to concentrate on that element of expertise and nutritional health directly related to not weight loss or how you appear, but your inside out. But it goes completely against the work that I'm doing at the moment, which is kind of Firework Champions, and it's all very kind of lively and bubbly and that kind of thing. Do you think there comes a stage where you have to make a real decision on which path it is that you're going to go in? Because obviously I'm earning money from doing the other stuff, but my passion really lies over here, and I think that has longevity.
I think you're right. There is a point where you have to decide, which way you're going to go. And if you are, if the nutrition and the wellness side of things is the prevalent side for you, you have to think about how your other work may affect that brand. If you're trying to sell, like Brian said, it is selling, like you are selling your beliefs and your work and your lifestyle and you to producers, to channels, to shows, and if they were to do a quick Google of you and then see like an exact opposite side, it sends like a convoluted message. So there is definitely a part of that journey where you'll have to decide which one takes precedent. For me, the decision was, I was in a comfortable 9-to-5 job, and I was trying to be a presenter at the same time, and I was finding that I was using all my holidays up to go and do jobs, and then I had nothing left, and I was taking unpaid leave, and I wasn't actually able to do the job properly, and it was really scary deciding, actually I'm going to leave full-time employment and become self-employed. And it is feast or famine. Some months I'm like, I'm a millionaire, and other months I'm like, how am I going to pay my bills? So yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, but it does give you the freedom to work on the things that you really love and that you're really passionate about.
Lovely Louise is 37, but I beat you. I'm 42, so but it is a matter of going back and almost kind of rebuilding and starting.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is unpicking your past life in order to knit together a new life, or a new career. So it is daunting, it is scary, but if it's something that you really want to do, the time is now. It always is, like the best time. So what I heard something the other day, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So if you feel like you kind of let things slide a little bit, then today is your second best opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, thanks, that's really helpful.
That's brilliant. I think that's brilliant advice. Okay, so can we go to Gemma, actually, because I think Gemma, we're running out of time really quickly, and Gemma, I think if you can unmute yourself, I think you've got a load of questions that have come from online. Is that right? Hi, Gemma.
Yes. Hi, Annabelle, how are you doing?
Oh, you look fab. I love that lipstick on you.
Thank you. It's my purple. Yeah, it's
how old are you, Gemma? Are you 37?
I don't look it, so I'm not 37. Give away my age. I wanted to ask you, Annabelle, you've done a lot of appearances on This Morning or Not. Sometimes they're quite controversial.
Oh yes.
A lot of social media attention. Some of it is not always wanted.
Oh, most of it's awful.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the haters? Because they're going to hate.
it's all it's a bit of a bravado and a bit of I just see the people that disagree with me as an opportunity to educate them and hopefully change their mind, and a lot of the people that disagree with me, it's not born from an angry or hateful place, it's born from a lack of information. So yeah, it's always an opportunity. And there's that saying, all attention is good attention. It is kind of true in the media, unless you've done something absolutely horrendous. But having the kind of opinions that I have on certain topics is not the average opinion, but I'm not the average person in that area. So I spent over a decade learning about sex relationships, the body, psychology, psychosexual therapy, and that's not the run-of-the-mill kind of knowledge base. So for people that are angry at me or direct kind of attention that isn't particularly nice, and never take it to heart. Sometimes it's really funny, other times, for the most part, I don't even look at it. If I've done a This Morning appearance, 9 times out of 10 I won't look at my social media for a little while, because I know it's going to be a lot of people telling me off. But a lot of people on social media, they're just keyboard warriors, and it's so easy to say, oh, don't take it to heart, but I genuinely don't, because this is going to sound awful, but I don't really care what anyone thinks, as long as if I watch it back and I'm happy with my performance, and I think that I spoke well and was eloquent and concise and I got my point across, I'm happy.
You know what, I saw a really good post this week that said, what people think of me is none of my business.
Yeah, so that's what I think. Yeah.
Tell me about how, because you worked on Big Brothers, but on the side, how did that opportunity? I know you really want to get into Big Brother.
Well, I heard a rumor the other day that Celebrity Big Brother might be coming back, so I got really excited about that, but nothing's official yet.
So how did you get into that?
That was where I was working on This Morning, and I'd been to meet one of the producers at Big Brother a few years before, and nothing had ever come of it. They didn't really want to. They were steering away from the CD area. It's when they went from Channel 4 to Channel 5, and Channel 5 were trying to stay away from the seediness, and they were trying to overlook sex in it. So nothing happened there. And then I was doing This Morning, and there was a runner who I overheard say, oh God, I'm bloody starving. And I'd got some crisps that I was eating. I was like, oh, I'll have some crisps. And she then went on and up in her career and ended up as one of the producers on Big Brother's Bit on the Side with Rylan. And she just reached out to my agent and said, oh, I remember Annabelle from This Morning. Would she like to come in for a meeting? And I went and met her. And yeah, it just went from there. And then we agreed kind of a weekly 15-20 minute segment on whatever the housemates were up to.
Yeah. Is that something that you would recommend experts to do if they're watching the likes of This Morning and they see, oh, actually, I could do a little segment on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the kind of big boys like This Morning and your kind of tentpole shows, it's definitely worth trying to get an agent to reach out to those, because it gives you authenticity as a presenter, and it gives you a level of professionalism that you wouldn't get if you were just to reach out on your own. It also makes them more likely to take you seriously, or to read the email in the first place. Like a lot of producers that like an unknown email address might go to their junk, or they might just overlook it. So if you can get management, and that's the kind, like that's where your site's aimed. Like if This Morning is where you want to be, try and get management. If you can't, or you don't want to, still try. Like there's no harm in trying. There's no harm in chasing up, and there's no harm in being active on their social media platforms and their channels, or tagging them in things. Anything that kind of entrenches you in their world is going to help.
I mean, if you look at the likes of This Morning, and even Lorraine as well, they're always looking for interesting stories. So even though we're in lockdown, you could be doing something on TikTok or your social media, or something that you've written might go viral.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of my appearances have been born off the back of an article I've written that has got attention in the national press or online. And then the TV shows go, oh, actually, that'll make a great 15-minute segment or whatever. So on the like kind of daytime TV shows, I either go on as an expert offering opinion on like a current affair or a celeb gossip or whatever, or I go on as an agony aunt, and callers will ring up with their problems and I'll try and help them on air.
And how do you get into, big magazine publications? Do you have to write the articles first and reach out to the editor? What would be the best route?
So the way I do it now is I come up with an idea every day, and at the end of the week I reach out to the editors that I have worked with, or ones that or maybe journalists, because quite often journalists will, you might not get to write the whole article, but they'll come to you for a comment on an article, so you'll still get your name in print. So yeah, at the end of the week and on a Friday afternoon I will send out my ideas, and usually by Monday morning I've had, oh no, not for us, or had absolutely nothing and just get ignored, or yeah, the idea on 7 sex toys under £7 is brilliant for the Sun, can you write that up for us? And then it's about kind of seeking out your own work as well as waiting for work to come to you.
Because of course you get a lot of journalists in magazines reaching out to you, asking for comments, the likes of Love Island, when it's on our screen, they'll come to you.
Yeah, Love Island is busy for me.
It does mean that you actually have to sit and watch these shows, even though you maybe don't want to.
I know. The first episode of Love Island, I'm always like, oh God, I can't believe I've got to watch this. And by the second episode, I'm like, shh, Love Island's on. So yeah, you get into it really quickly. And also it's, it's work. It's, if I had a job as a teacher, the marking would be kind of extra work that you have to do. This is just something I have to do to, make sure my finger's on the pulse of current affairs and celeb gossip.
Yeah, because if you're not on the pulse, someone else will be.
Someone else is, absolutely, yeah.
So always make sure you're available. Another tip I've got, because I know some people are messaging me privately in the chat, and I recommend a lot of our students to do. If you are an expert in a field, perhaps you are into your gym, which I know that you're really into, Annabelle, and you've built your own gym and stuff at home, or maybe you're into property, or maybe you're into healthy eating, is to reach out to people in your local community, reach out to local restaurants, reach out to local estate agents and say to them, I'll do you a video on 10 things to look at when you're buying a new home, or 10 things to, property trends, this is what I predict, and do a little video for them. And if the chances are they'll probably use it if it's good, but they'll also use you again. They might pay you for it. And again, it's just a way of getting your name out there as an expert. We have got one of our students called Chris Zaremba. I don't know if you know him, Annabelle. He's been on a few of our sessions. He does fitness over 50, so he's a fitness expert. He's a fitness trainer, and he specialises in people that are over 50. So when you Google that you're looking for someone that specialises in fitness over 50, guess whose name comes up? And he gets channels and production companies coming to him because of all his content that he's got, the articles that he writes into fitness magazines, his YouTube channel. And he very rarely has to actually contact people because his branding is so right. I mean, that's a great position to be in, is it?
Yeah, I mean, that is the dream, really. Have them come to you.
Yeah. Just a last question from me. As I said, I know that you're really into your fitness and your health. I love your vegan recipes. You make veganism look so easy. I've tried it a few times. I fail on the cheese and the ice cream. But how important is it to look after your body when you're a presenter?
I mean, not so much anymore. I think inclusivity is a lot more important for channels now. But looking after yourself for yourself is really important, and doing what you can to the best of your ability. I was a bit overweight a year ago, hiding it behind a lot of floaty tops. They were like my go-to. And I had a bit of a health problem a year ago now, and I just thought, what are you doing? That putting on a couple of pounds a month, it doesn't seem that bad to start with, but after a year or so, it's easy to let it slide. So I used lockdown as an opportunity, built my own gym, and years ago I qualified as a personal trainer as well. So I had the knowledge, I just wasn't doing it. So I definitely feel better in myself. I have a lot more energy now, feel more productive. So yeah, I think it's about looking after yourself so that you feel good for yourself, and yeah, that's the top and bottom of it for me.
We were having a chat the other day about one of my favorite actors, and we were saying that well, I think that he's so successful because of his morning routine. He gets up very early, 4 a.m. I think. You know, I've been watching a lot of videos about him because I'm really into what makes people successful, like really successful, and it is they seem to go to the gym, they watch what they eat, they have a very strict routine. Would you
routine is the key to success. Planning and routine, I think, and a bit of luck.
And having good goals, I think, as well.
Yeah, goal setting is so important, and it's such a useful task, because your goals don't have to be big. They can be like, you know, just making your bed. As long as you have met them, you get the same burst of serotonin, the same burst of oxytocin from meeting a little goal as you do a big goal. So you know, make realistic goals and achievable goals, and then, you know, you just move on, and it feels good. You're working towards something, and you feel, when you're working towards something and you're ticking things off, it gives you a real sense of empowerment and control over your career, and that in itself is really helpful.
Yeah, this is actually one of the things that I've been looking at a lot recently, is actually making my goals more focused, because if they're a bit wishy-washy, you don't know how you're going to hit them. So you've got your big goals, so that might be the 10-year plan or the 5-year plan, and then break it down. Because what I realized that I was doing, and this a lot of performers and presenters might be on the same level, is I was doing things really well and getting better, but I was on the same level. I wasn't reaching out, I wasn't getting any bigger gigs, and I was thinking, well, actually I'm not pushing myself or coming out of my comfort zone. I was going on the same path, and that path was getting stronger. You know what? Sometimes I have to come off that path just a little bit, because you just never know where it's going to go. But definitely, write your goals down is the biggest tip that I would give to anybody.
Yeah, definitely having it, like I said, at the end of every day, I write down 3 or 4 things that I absolutely must do the following day. And when I sit down at my desk and I see those goals, just having them written down in front of me gives me a little bit of drive and motivation to get them done. And I am a bit of a nerd at doing a tick or crossing something off. I get a huge buzz out of that. So having it written down, so I've got a clear goal in front of me, daily goals, that really helps me to keep pushing and keep going.
Yeah, I love your desk, because quite often you put photos on Instagram with all the post-its up on the board.
Yeah, I am like, I'm a very visual worker. I need things in front of me. I like plans, I like charts, I like post-its, and yeah, I like to see what I'm doing.
Do you use that actually when you're writing your book? Do you have little post-its and storyboards?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So like I said, I'm a very visual writer. I have pictures of my characters, so I go on Star Now and I look at actors and presenters, and I screenshot if I see someone that I think that's how I imagine this person to look, I screenshot it. I have their picture up with kind of like 3 points about them, like little details that I can keep interweaving into the book so the character remains authentic. I have pictures of their bedrooms, of where they work. I have like when I planned the novel, I have that in front of me, so I know at the end of each chapter what things have had to happen to drive the story. Yeah, I'm a very visual person. I like it all. I've got a whiteboard, a cork board, and then like post-its everywhere, and it's, to the untrained eye, it looks like a mess, but it's an organized mess.
Yeah, vision boards are so important. Honestly, I cannot believe how much things have come true from putting a photo of something. There's actually a really funny story about, you know, how I got on the One Show on one of the other webinars that we did, and that was simply from putting a photo on my vision board, and I got there but not quite as I expected, so I changed it. Within a week I was sat on that sofa, but only because Jerry Halliwell was doing a piece at the opposite end of the studio and they asked me to move. But it's really weird, you know, it was just so weird how
it all counts.
Brian, how are you getting on with your goals?
With my goals?
Yeah, are you into your goal setting?
Yes. Well, do you know what? I've no time for goals. I'm too busy. But I did have a question for Annabelle, just going back to something you said earlier on one of the articles you were writing, that was 7 sex toys for under £7.
I mean, that I just made that up off the top of my head.
Oh, really? I was going to say, have you got a link to the article for
No,
me?
no, that was just like one of the things that I pitched. In fact, it wasn't one of the things that I pitched. I pitched something similar, but I'm going to pitch that article.
I love it. No, seriously though, what? Because we're coming to the end here. We've had Annabelle for an hour now, and it's been fabulous. But I want to know what's next for you. What is there anything in the pipeline? Is there anything to look out for? What's happening? Tell us.
So I have taken a little bit of a sidestep career-wise. So I can say what it is, but I can say what I'm doing, but I can't say what it is. I have been asked by an exec European producer at Amazon to work on a film. So I will be doing some screenwriting. I've already written one film, and I used that as a kind of example of what I can do. And so I am working as a researcher at the moment with a view to writing a script. So that's really exciting. Yeah. So I mean, when I first started out on my career, I never thought I'd be like a writer. I kind of thought I'd write maybe 500-word articles and that would be it. And then, you know, had a bit of a lull in work and thought I'll write a book and write another one and write another one. And then lockdown happened a year ago and I thought, I'm going to write a film. So I did. And so that's what I'm going to be. Well, I'm doing it now. So that's really exciting. And then I've got Chasing Clouds coming out on Monday. It's available on Amazon and all good bookstores.
Have we got a link to that, James? Put in the chat. Can you?
Perfect Valentine's gift for yourself or your partner. And then my third novel is due to come out at the end of the year. But I think I'm going to push for Valentine's Day next year because I think it's romantic novels, bit of love, bit of lust, everything in between. Perfect for Valentine's Day.
Awesome. Listen, when you're writing and you're being involved in researching and what have you for this Amazon film, if you need like a dashingly handsome, charismatic 37 plus sort of hippie looking fella, just let me know.
Well, actually, do you know what? I did have a meeting with a casting director, and I am due to have another one next week. So I'll be shoving some names and faces her way.
Fantastic. I'm going to send you one of my little video brochures.
Oh God, I'm on the other side of the mirror now. It's weird.
Yeah. Okay, listen, it's been absolutely super talking to you, Annabelle. Thank you so much for your time. It's always lovely to see you and to hear what you're up to and what you're doing. I always say this, what would you come back and join us again sometime?
Of course, always.
Fantastic. It's very difficult to say no, isn't it, when I put you under pressure like that?
I know, I just can't do it. No, I love these. I love answering people's questions, and you know, we're kind of all in this together. We're all doing the same thing and wanting the same thing. So if I can help in any way, let me know.
Brilliant. It's more than helpful. It's really, really great advice we've got there. So should we give Annabelle a round of applause, please, everybody? Give her absolutely super stuff. Don't forget to go along to Amazon, have a look for that book. Join us next week. We'll be back 10 o'clock with something. I don't know quite what. I can't remember. I'm in one of those ways today. We've also got one-on-ones on our website. We've also got online diplomas and stuff that you can do at home, live and virtual training and pre-recorded training. Go to tvtrainingacademy.com if you haven't already. Thanks for joining us. Again, a massive thank you to Annabelle, and stay safe, everybody. Much love. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Cheers.